In primetime news this evening, destruction and despair as Hurricane Melissa ravages sections of Jamaica. Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Primetime News. I'm Janella Precious. We have island-wide coverage of Hurricane Melissa, plus the latest from the authorities. So please stay with us. The news in detail after this break. Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Now, in our feedback question for this evening, we are asking, what was your experience like of Hurricane Melissa? And you can share comments online, facebook.com/Television Jamaica, and tweet us at Television Jamaica, at tvjnewscenter.com. So, up first this evening, Hurricane Melissa left a trail of destruction in its path as it moved away from Jamaica. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness declared the country a disaster area under the Disaster Risk Management Act effective today. In a release this evening, the Prime Minister said the measures are new legal steps to protect lives. So, where is Melissa? We're now joined by our in-house meteorologist, Romaine Robinson. Romaine, let us start there. Where is Melissa?
Thanks, Janelle. Now, the system is some 80 kilometers towards the east-northeast of Montego Bay and moving away from the island of Jamaica at about 13 kilometers per hour. We're expecting the system to be fully into the Caribbean Sea over the next couple of hours, and it should be moving towards the island of Cuba sometime in the morning tomorrow. But we still have winds from the system blowing onshore the north coast right across the north coast from sections of Lucy all the way through to about Ocho Rios. We still have strong winds across the general area with the passage of the system.
So pretty much you're saying it's not necessarily over.
That's correct. And we have not yet lifted the hurricane warning for the island. It's still in effect for all parishes.
What determines when that advisory is lifted?
It's quite likely that the advisory is lifted when the system is out of our meteorological watch area and the conditions have returned to what we call near normal, meaning conditions under which you would typically have for the climate period and for the day for the particular month. Okay,
so let's zoom in on what we experienced today. We saw destruction, as we would have mentioned in our lead-in. Is it available yet, the data on the amount of rainfall that was experienced in a lot of these communities and the parishes in the southwest area of the country?
In the southwest, no. We're still expected to be collecting our data tomorrow going into the end of the month, and we should have most of this available in the coming days. We also have some wind data that we are expected to be processing over the next couple of days, and this data will also be submitted to the Hurricane Center so we can get a better idea of what really took place across the country over the past couple of days.
A huge disparity remains in what was experienced in these parishes versus what we experienced in Kingston, for example. What accounted for that?
The radial distance of most intense winds with the system was still only about 45 kilometers. However, we did have tropical storm force winds that extended out to almost 200 kilometers, which would have included the more eastern portions of the island. So sections of central Jamaica were under the influence of at least Category 2 storm force winds, Category 3 storm force winds, with the heaviest winds, Category 5, being right along that line based on the track of the system as it exited the north coast.
Okay, so what can we expect now?
Now, because the warning is still in effect, we still are also expecting tropical storm force conditions to be affecting most of the island come tomorrow. It's not until tomorrow afternoon that we're expecting sections of southern parishes to be under what we call normal conditions, or the conditions are expected to return to near normal. And then by late in the evening, we expect northern parishes to undergo the same changes.
Okay, thank you so much, Romain. And of course, you will have more in the weather report and forecast later. Thank you. Now, as we have been reporting, St. Elizabeth is reeling from the impact of the catastrophic hurricane. Our correspondent Rodney Longmore filed this report as it made landfall sometime after 12 today.
St. Elizabeth, I'm based in Santa Cruz, where I'm telling you, it's so heavy. We have no chance of seeing outside. The whole place is white, trees down. I get a lot of reports that several houses, roof of houses are gone, flooding in the burnt down housing scheme. I can just imagine there's water going down to New River. I was trying to speak to some persons from New River yesterday, telling them to leave. They are saying that they think they'll be okay because they don't think it will be as hard as 2010, which is the worst one they have ever seen. But this one look like it's gonna do a lot of damage in this area. The Glencoe housing scheme, my friend called me that 2 sections of his house are gone. The whole of his house are leaking. A lot of persons are now scared, and we're having heavy winds, rains, everything. I can't give you a report on the shelters in the area nor anything from the parish. I'm trying to get in touch with the mayor, but I can't. I get some pictures from the Black River area where they're saying the Black River routes to the Black River Hospital are blocked, and persons are even staying at the Black River police station. There are a lot of chaotic move in the St. Elizabeth area. I can just imagine some of the places, even on the south side and things like that, Treasure Beach. Those should be very, 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 very terrible at this moment. I'm even getting some calls from some of my friends in Manchester saying it seems like from yesterday the storm had not left that area. They are having it real hard. Right now, where I am, some water is coming in through the doors and something like that, but not as hard as many people else would have it. But the Santa Cruz area is getting it very terrible at this moment.
That was our correspondent, Rodney Longmar. And of course, tomorrow we are hoping to join him again to get more of the aftermath. Now, still in St. Elizabeth, the Black River Police Station has been damaged. We got videos of the devastation caused by severe flooding. This was happening even as the police were out in their numbers, ensuring the safety of citizens. We spoke with the commanding officer for the St. Elizabeth Division, Superintendent Coleridge Mento.
At current, a number of particularly the glass windows to the stations have been broken, which has now compromised the building to some extent and the contents thereof. We are now experiencing severe weather conditions. We have also have a number of residents living in and around this area that their homes were damaged and they have come to seek refuge. We are prioritizing the safety of every person, including those who came, or police officers, and certainly at this location where we have prisoners in custody. And so the priority at this time is to ensure that no life is lost at this facility. A number of the roads are now impassable and blocked across the parish. Certainly the main road that leads to the Black River Hospital is totally blocked, where we've just looked and seen a vehicle washed along the road in front of the stations. A number of roofs around this area have been lifted totally. The gate to the station is damaged. A number of the vehicles on the property are damaged. And so we're continuing to monitor at this time. Again, our number one priority at this time is to ensure the safety of all the persons who are at this facility, to include our prisoners in custody, our police officers, as well as the citizens who have sought refuge at this location.
Now, rainfall in Manchester has been consistent since Sunday, but today things took a turn for the worse. The damage is evident across several communities. Romardo Lyons is in the parish and filed this report.
Wind beating Mandeville terrain, fallen items after each slap. The block of roadway is unrecognizable.
The scene at the Manchester Parish Council spells disconnectivity. Two poles are down over here, and right here, an entanglement of wires from many different directions.
Disconnection but not redirection. Reduced visibility. And over in Ward Avenue, firefighters fighting floodwaters. Loss of life averted as residents rescued from a flooded property. And this property on Greenvale Road flooded since Monday. Brown murky water threatening to rise. Here, a car drenched, motionless, abandoned.
You don't need to be told. It has been transformed into a lake. This is the road that leads to the Mandeville Regional Hospital. Now, this vehicle has been stuck here for about 3 to 4 hours. The driver nowhere to be found, but the police have been patrolling the area.
Now, the Southern Regional Health Authority has since issued an advisory to the public. It reads, the roadway to the front gate of the Mandeville Regional Hospital is flooded and alternate access can be gained through the gate at Hargreaves Avenue at Cecil Charlton Hall.
And more signs of damage. Right now we're at the Mandeville Plaza, and as you can see, fallen trees. Not one, but two. And this one right here is very massive. It's a large tree. It shows the power, or the force of the wind rather. Over here we have some vehicles parked for shelter, but I'm not sure if that will be much protection for them. We stumbled upon this lone soldier who said he was out to get some food.
Yeah, right now we're at the Manchester school and we go open to our center because there is no bus to our center. And the next man come up you call and go away because no food is not here. No drinking water. So there's 2 of us left here right now. And hopefully many more will come after the breeze cool down, you know? You understand? But right now, nothing there for nobody. Everybody come right now, no bedding, no blanket, nothing there. We just need some chair and something and make some bed, you know?
Another here unwilling to speak. No, this is as far as we were willing to go on this road.
This is a turn off from Main Street, but it's more like Main River.
Close by, a flow office taking flow to another level.
Every single vehicle parked right here on the property is submerged. Look at this view.
If these are service vehicles, recovery work regarding reception may take a while. You know what else may take a while? Rebuilding for farmers in central Jamaica yet again.
Yeah, you know the carrot, I might save a little guy young. And the lettuce, you know that I got butter same way. Pop chai, eat butter already. Pop chai butter already. You know the tomato, looking same way like when you see this here so. Eat butter already to me brother. Butter already. This in front of my house here, me just get started to pick it. I mean what them over right now.
Harder and harder for things expensive. And the biggest impact on farming right now, you can't get nobody for work. And the farming material, very expensive. Very expensive. So it's just rougher and rougher every time you have to go back and start all over. So I hit what I face right now.
Ramarda Lyons, TVJ News.
Thank you so much, Ramardo. We take a break now, but our coverage continues later. Hi, Minister Vaz, can you please fix your camera? I am not able to see it, but if my team inside can tell me what they want you to do. Can you put your camera horizontally, please, sir?
I'm trying to do that, but it's not working.
You're trying to put it horizontal?
I don't know why.
Okay, I can see you. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We begin this latest we begin this segment with the latest from the National Emergency Center at the Office of the Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management (ODPEM). Officials there gave the latest on the hurricane's impact. Our reporter Andrea Chisholm was there.
Janela, the Met Office indicating that Jamaica would be experiencing hurricane-force winds as well as tropical storm-force winds across the island. And we're definitely experiencing those conditions here now at the offices of ODPEM here on Haining Road in St. Andrew. It's as a result of the spiral bands associated with Hurricane Melissa. Now, at the press conference late this evening, local government minister Desmond McKenzie indicated that over 530,000 JPS customers are now without electricity, and over 15,000 individuals are in shelters right across the island. He also pointed out that the Falmouth Hospital in Trelawney has been affected by storm surges. The Noel Homes as well as the Cornwall Regional Hospitals have been affected by flooding. And the Black River Hospital, a section of the roof at that hospital was damaged.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is conducting an evaluation of the situation, and 75 patients were removed from that hospital to safety. Block roads right across the country. Almost every parish is experiencing block road, fallen trees, utility poles, and excess flooding in many communities. Anian Town Alley, Seven Rivers in St. James are experiencing flooded bridges.
The local government minister also gave an update about another important entity under his portfolio.
There are some concerns that has been raised, and we had to put in emergency measures in our infirmaries. The infirmary in Santa Cruz, based on the flooding of the area, was affected. 50 residents had to be relocated to a different section of the facility. The fire brigade station in Santa Cruz was flooded out because of excessive flood waters. And the Ministry of Local Government, through the Board of Supervision, has been monitoring all infirmaries across the country to ensure that our residents in these infirmaries are in good condition.
So the government is on standby to do a rapid assessment of the extensive damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. And we were also told that relief supplies are being organized to offer support to those who need it as soon as the all clear is given. Reporting live from the offices of ODPEM in St. Andrew, I'm Andrea Chisholm for TVJ News.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Well, the local government minister, Desmond McKenzie, also provided further details on the devastation in the parish of St. Elizabeth.
We have reports coming out of Black River of a number of families being trapped in their homes. And it was difficult for the rescue team to get there. We are getting stories, and I don't want to say it publicly before we can confirm it, that there may be a situation that we don't want to happen, but I'm not prepared to say that until we get the full details. But I know at least 3 families were marooned at home and was having difficulty because persons to undertake the rescue could not venture out at the time because of the conditions that exist. And we are hoping and praying that the situation will ease so that some attempts can be made to get to those persons.
Let's turn our attention to the transport sector now. We are now joined by the Transport Minister, Daryl Vaz, who joins us live on Zoom. Minister, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening to you. Good evening to Jamaica. Hope everybody is safe.
Yes, indeed. Minister, one of the questions that we have been getting a lot of is when will the airports be open for business again?
So far, we expect to do an assessment of Norman Manley International Airport tomorrow. But based on the preliminary reports, we are hoping that we can open Norman Manley for relief flights on Thursday, based on the fact that we will need to do a deeper assessment of Montego Bay Airport because of the weather that affected it today. I have got preliminary reports of some damage, but thankfully so far the damage that I've received doesn't seem to be anything that cannot be taken care of in short order. Also, I'm looking at the Ian Fleming Airport for smaller aircraft to be able to use that also as a landing point for relief efforts in the coming days. But hopefully, as I said before, Thursday, Norman Manley, that will be the main airport that we will use for relief supplies. And hopefully by Friday into the weekend, we can definitely use Norman Manley for commercial and passenger flights in and out of the country.
Sir, what about the JUTC? Have you observed any, or have you gotten any reports of damage done to buses or the infrastructure, particularly in St. Catherine?
No, absolutely not. The only problem that we would have for JUTC is the fact that we have a number of CNG buses and the plant was decommissioned because of the weather. We do have certain storage at the Spanish Town Depot, Portmore Depot, sorry. So we will be able to use that at least for a few days, hopefully, based on the fact that we didn't have maximum damage in Kingston or St. Catherine, that it won't interrupt our service with the buses. But we have other buses that we can use. And I can also state that as of today, an arrangement has put in place by virtue of me approving additional spectrum for Flow and Digicel to use Starlink as a backup so that if their system does not come up right away, the customers of Flow and Digicel will be able to communicate using the Starlink backbone, which will keep everybody in communication, including the government apparatus and, of course, customers in the immediate. So we are well advanced in our plans for the recovery, and I'm just hoping that we will be able to get on to the recovery as quickly as possible, which means that both Montego Bay and Norman Manley and Ian Fleming will be needed for the recovery efforts. And so far, so good. I'll be going up tomorrow to take a look at both Norman Manley and Montego Bay and Ian Fleming from the air and doing a reconnaissance with JPS tomorrow to see exactly what the status is, and I'll give a full report on the JPS situation and restoration in short order.
Thank you so much. That was the Minister of Transport, Daryl Vaz, joining us live there. And we continue with our coverage where severe flooding was reported in sections of St. Anne. Shamela Pullen has our story.
A river on the border of St. Anne and Clarendon has overflowed its banks, inundating yards and causing widespread flooding that has left several communities cut off. The main roads into Cave Valley and Anion Town are now impassable, with flood waters completely submerging sections of the roadway. Residents remain marooned in their homes as conditions continue to worsen.
Anion Town is actually in Clarendon, but the river starts in Clarendon and runs down to a culmination and settles right there in Cave Valley. We anticipate that the area will be flooded. And from what I gather, it has already flooded, which is normal. So people are aware to stay away from that area. And the only thing we can say in that area is let it dry out.
Mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavy, says the flooding is linked to the natural terrain of the area rather than poor drain maintenance, making the situation difficult to control.
There's nothing that you can do as far as drain cleaning to mitigate against that particular episode. So it is one of those episodes where you just hope for the best, watch it, and as soon as it is complete, you analyze and see how, make sure that there are no damages or minimize it, and at the same time you work with the individuals who may have got dislocated because the waters will rise up to the level of some business people, homes, those places that have agricultural farms.
Authorities are closely monitoring the situation and will have to wait for water levels to recede before road access can be restored. In the meantime, adequate supplies have been secured for residents sheltering in emergency facilities across the parish.
What we have done is we usually give these items out once we get a count as to how many people are in the shelters. Last night, we gave supplies to the Orchard Center and other centers across the parish with mats and towel blankets, toilet paper and so on, napkins, and we have provided some semblance of food. I know this parish.
And we turn our attention to the country's road network now. We're joined by Communications Manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. I know it is early days yet, but what can you tell us in terms of your preliminary assessment?
Hi, good evening, Janela. Good evening to your viewers. Very preliminary. We have had just about 100 reports of roads being impacted in all parishes, some more than others. The issues range from flooding to fallen trees, blocked culverts, washed out surfaces, and we expect that over the next 24 to 36 hours, we are going to see a significant spike in the reports because there are many areas that we are yet to get reports from. The rain is still continuing, the winds are still strong, and so our teams, out of an abundance of caution and the safety of our officers, of course, we have not been able to move as in the way that we would have been accustomed to given this situation.
How do you determine which road is a priority at this point? I know that resources, that's an issue. How do you determine what is first?
Well, we have a standing plan. So the areas where we have that we classified as strong economic drivers. So the airports, the seaports, those are crucial. The hospitals, medical facilities, those two are important to the country. Places where we have telecoms installations, the JPSCO installations, the National Water Commission's installations, those are crucial sites that we have to provide access to. And so those are top priority for us. Other areas that, of course, the country depend on for agriculture, for commerce, those two are important, and we will focus on those areas too as we cut, clean and clear.
So we see where the southwestern end of the country received a battering. What are your preliminary reports showing, or is it still too early to tell?
It is still pretty early, Janela. As I said, we have reports ranging from flooding, fallen trees, scoured surfaces, and the like. A lot of areas, as we had indicated based on the sheer size of the system and the lay of the land, that we would experience flooding, notwithstanding the drain cleaning works that we did. We knew that there were going to be capacity issues, and these manifested themselves in several areas, sections of St. Thomas, in Manchester, in St. Mary, in St. Anne, and of course, we are committed to ensuring that persons are able to move again as quickly as possible. As I speak, I want to tell you that the Mandela Highway, the westbound section, that is the section that takes you from Kingston towards Spanish Town, is impassable in the vicinity of the cemetery. Major blockage there, and so again, it's raining in the capital city. If persons do not have to be on the road, then I would say stay put. We're trying to get this particular impediment removed, but there are challenges because persons, we don't want to put anybody at risk at this time, because while the eye of this storm is out at sea, we, based on what was said earlier, the conditions of a storm remain and continue to impact us.
Is there a number, Stephen, that persons can call in the event that, they need assistance?
Yes, we have some numbers: 658-213-2557-60, 876-312-3991, 876-312-3987. And these are numbers for our Emergency Operations Center. And the center is being manned and has been manned for the last 4 days or so. So we have officers who have been working 24 hours, taking the calls, directing traffic, so to speak, as we try to get the country moving once again.
Thank you so much. That was Stephen Shaw, the Communications Manager at the National Works Agency. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, our extensive coverage of Hurricane Melissa continues right after this break.
Heart's Skills on Demand portal connects skilled professionals with employers. The time by Heart NSTA Trust is... With just one packet, Tang makes plenty to go around. Delicious, easy to make, and perfect for sharing with the whole crew. Packed with flavor, vitamin C, D, zinc, and fewer calories. Tang gives you more every time. More refreshment, more joy. Tang, the drink that gives you so much more.
My name Lionel. And after a hurricane, everybody want them things lined up and them light back quick. You understand that? But power restoration is a process. First, we check the big plants and main transmission lines. If them down, nobody can get power. Then, we restore the essential places: hospitals, water, airport and such. Next is the major community lines, the one that power hundreds of homes one time. Last, we reach the smaller lines that serve individual streets. Rushing can cause damage or hurt someone, so we follow protocol and keep it.
Welcome back to our coverage. We now are joined by the Director of Corporate Communications at the Jamaica Public Service, Winsome Callum, with the latest from that sector. Winsome, thank you so much for joining us. Let's just get straight to it. What is the latest? How much percentage of your customers is now without power? What percentage, rather?
Most of our customers are now without power, Janella. This was a really challenging, very powerful hurricane. I thank God that it didn't go through the center of the island as had been originally predicted. Right now, as we speak, we have about 75% of our customers who are without electricity. Most of these customers who are without electricity are in the central and western parishes. We're talking about St. Elizabeth. At one point, St. Elizabeth was entirely, completely in darkness. We also have Trelawney and Westmoreland and St. James. Those are the four most badly impacted parishes that were without electricity, that have been without electricity. In some cases, the entire parish without electricity. The parishes of St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, Portmore and some sections of St. Catherine have been the least impacted. So while you have pockets of outages in these parishes, most of these areas are still with electricity, and we give God thanks for that. The grid actually did hold up. We really have to give kudos and commendations to the JPS team that fought valiantly to prevent a complete total grid shutdown. But right now we are looking at about 510,000, approximately 510,000 customers who are without electricity, and that's from a total of about 700,000 customers, just under 700,000. So most of our done damage assessment, that's going to take days and will begin only after we get the all clear from ODPEM and the Met Office. But right now, what we're looking at is devastation. Most of the electricity grid is down. That's our transmission and distribution network in the central and western end of the island. And from the preliminary look of things, it's going to be a total rebuild. It's going to be a total rebuild.
But this time around, Winsome, as opposed to what happened during Hurricane Beryl, you have help. You have help, you have crews from other countries that have come to assist the JPS in its recovery process. How is that likely to, I don't want to say fast track the process, but I think you get where I'm going.
Yes, and I believe that decision to bring in these line workers ahead of the hurricane was a game changer. Last year, you will recall, during that hurricane season, we brought in persons after the event and after damage assessment. But because we did not want to be in that position, what we wanted for our customers was quick restoration as quickly and as safely as possible. And so earlier this year, we entered into partnerships, contracts, formal contracts with companies in North America, and over the past few days ahead of the hurricane, we brought in over 70 workers from Canada, from the US, and from St. Vincent. So we have persons from the Caribbean as well as North America here on the ground to assist us. And we have over 400 local contractors who are skilled in different areas, along with JPS employees. So our teams have already been deployed. Right now, we have teams on the ground where in the parishes that I mentioned with the least damage, we are working to address situations that could be dangerous. For example, there was a pole across the road close to Arthur Drive. On Arthur Drive, we were able to fix that. So there are situations that require response. So as long as it is safe to do so, we will be responding. But the full response to the devastation that we're seeing in central and western Jamaica, that full response will begin only after damage assessment. And our teams are on the ground. We have boots on the ground, and they are being deployed in the different parishes. So we expect this time around to have faster restoration. We will complete damage assessment more quickly, and we will start the restoration much more quickly.
Okay, so Winsome, before we go, if you can provide us with the details on how persons who may want to report something, where can they do it and how can they do it?
Right now, the truth is that we are aware of where the outages are in the parishes that are devastated in terms of the electricity grid being down. In Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, and sections of St. Catherine, where the damage is not as extensive, we are still trying to respond to those reports, and those reports can be made through our call center. And that's our 24-hour call center that you can get to by calling 888-225-5577 or 888-CALL-JPS. Send in your reports using the JPS mobile app. That's My JPS mobile app. And you can also make reports using our online channels. That's at myjpsonline.com. MyJPS Online. There is also a facility on our website, again, jpsco.com. What we want you to do, though, is to follow the JPS pages and the JPS WhatsApp channel for regular updates. We will be providing regular updates, and we will make sure that we keep you abreast of how we're proceeding, where we're working over the next few days after we get the damage assessment done. You can check in for regular updates on our channels, and of course we'll be using the media, and we really embrace opportunities like this, Janella, to tell our customers what we're up to and what's happening with JPS and their service.
Thank you so much, Winsome. And of course, we will continue to monitor the situation with the restoration of service for the thousands of Jamaicans who are now without power. Thank you so much. We go over now to Portland. The Rio Grande continues to rise, and there are concerns about residents living along the riverside. Relatives are fearful lives could be lost if the heavy rains persist. Anthony Lugg has our story.
A group of residents in Berrydale, Portland, look on at the Rio Grande as the water rages Tuesday afternoon. Residents have been on edge since Sunday as the water continues to rise due to persistent rainfall in the parish.
On a typical day, residents would use the raft that are lined along here to make their way in and out of the community. But with the river now raging, they're unable to do so.
There's a lot of people over there who can't come across neither. They're in a difficulty, so they would need little assistance, food stuff and stuff like that.
You're in contact with anybody over there from morning or from yesterday?
No, we can't get to call them because them phone, them power run out, you know.
Yeah, me have an uncle by that side. Yeah, me have to come across and he said he just want to secure your house.
While some decided to brave the waters, Reggie did not. He told us he was more concerned about his family's safety.
Would I be more comfortable on my side, but through being in my family and rather feel more safe out my babies them and say, oh, all right, then risk it for over there, so say it can cause lives or anything like that possible.
But with the rains associated with Hurricane Melissa expected to linger for several days, there's no telling when he'll get the chance to do so. Until then, the community is hoping the residents on the other side of the river will be able to weather the storm.
We're just waiting for the best, when I expect nothing bad to come out of this hurricane.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
And we take another break now, but we'll have more when we return.
Primetime News, brought to you by
the new KFC Doritos Zinger, a combo that's finger-licking good. KFC.
The Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League is back at its rightful home, Television Jamaica and TVJ Sports Network. For 40 thrilling weeks, the nation's premier footballers will be on show, bringing the skill, the passion, and the goals. Don't miss the excitement. Double headers every Sunday and Monday, live and exclusive in Jamaica. Matches streamed on OneSpotMedia.com, available only in Jamaica. The Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. 40 weeks of homegrown talent, homegrown pride, only on TVJ, TVJ Sports Network, and OneSpotMedia.com.
The Business Day, brought to you by...
Start your journey with a Jane Bank Small Business Loan, with small business loans with as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million.
And our coverage continues. Welcome back. Let us take in some of the happenings in Kingston. As we would have reported, we also experienced flooding as well as rainfall and strong gusty winds in Kingston. Here's Kirk Wright with our report.
In Waterhouse, along the gully bank, danger. Huge sections of the wall along the Sandy Gully collapsed. Residents like Kimon Fender were on edge.
Especially now that I have a 4-year-old, and with this Category 5 hurricane that is coming, I see whereas there's a possibility that the gully may give way. And growing up, I've experienced burial, I've experienced Ivan, and the gully was still standing in all honesty, but this is the worst that we have seen it.
Ms. Fender says she did not choose to live there.
In all honesty, it's my mom's home, and then I came here when I was about 6 years old, and you know what it is that your mom and your father provide. We just decided that, okay, then we're just going to build on top of it and see how best we can make things happen for us.
Community activist Chris Constantine says the situation has existed for approximately 5 years and that their Member of Parliament, Anthony Hilton, has been trying to get the authorities to fix it.
He inspected the thing, he engaged the National Water Commission and NWA. NWA at the time, I guess they said they couldn't do anything because they didn't have any funds. National Water Commission, they came out and they repaired the sewer line because it was broken and the stench was really high.
Let me ask you, what do you think prevented it from being repaired?
I don't know, it seemed like there was some kind of delay within the agencies, and there was an issue that I can remember with NWA that they said they didn't have any funds that were allocated to fix the gully at the time, yeah? And since then, it has been just deteriorating over a sustained period of time. The plates were actually close up to which part they were separated from until some more rain came and washed the plates further down the stream.
Over in McGregor Gully, just before Hurricane Melissa made landfall, a feast was about to happen. It's one of the communities in the corporate area notorious for flooding, and with that, last-minute preparation.
Reporting live from front page, McGregor Gully. We are awaiting Melissa.
In Seaview Gardens, another community prone to flooding, entertainers trot their stuff on the street corner, creating a vibe before the hurricane. A resident showed us a drain in phase 1 that often floods and says some of the flooding is caused by humans.
The reason for the people and some part of here what we call it soak away land, they dump it up. And that is the problem. Because when the sea level rise there, it go over that. And it have a rise where the water stops. So the people them dump it up.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
We go now to the scenes from Clarendon, which has also taken a battering from Hurricane Melissa. Our reporter Dwayne Anderson is in the parish.
My correspondent and I, we've made a judgment call, people. This particular area is the main road that leads to Kemsale and surrounding areas, the Alley Bridge, etc. But we've been driving on this particular road for the better part of about 5 minutes now, and all we can see is water, and it's getting deeper and deeper. So we've decided to make a judgment call. We're not going to risk it any further because the rain is pounding down. It's getting harder with each passing minute, and the road appears to be flooded as far as the eye can see and as far as we're coming from. So we're going to make a judgment call. This particular area is not that deep, so we're going to turn right here and exit. We'll perhaps return to this community once this weather system subsides. It does not appear to be very smart to go much further given the extent of flooding we are observing in this area.
Now, obviously, this is not the only place Dwayne went earlier today, and a lot of his reporting was impeded by the heavy rainfall as well as the wind. And he now joins us live via Zoom to tell us about his experience across the parish. Dwayne?
You ready? Still freezing?
No, it's not freezing.
Thank you so much, Janela. Good evening, and good evening to our viewers on television Jamaica. Telling you good evening is really just for pleasantries because it's really not a very good evening for Jamaicans. By extension, really, the country took a real pounding today from what I'm calling menacing Melissa. For the better part of about 15 hours today, Clarendon was one of those parishes that really took a battering from this weather system. It really battered the parish from up there up in the north to all the way down to the southern tip. And right now I'm talking to you, and it's almost a little bit of a mini miracle that I'm able to actually talk to you because most of the parish is in complete darkness. In fact, we've had to sort of put together a little mini studio in our service vehicle here in the parish to be able to do this connection for the newscast from about 7 a.m. this morning. The electricity went, and with it, the connectivity, with it, the just being able to communicate with people, simple messages being able to send out, that is really, really a challenge. And I tell you what, I know why it is so difficult, because I was able to traverse parts of the parish today, and I note several downed power lines, several downed utility poles. And if you're down there in the south of Clarendon, especially in Rocky Point and Portland Cottage and Mitchelltown, you're probably not going to be wanting to hear that sort of news, because you remember burial just over a year ago where when those lines went down, you went without electricity for the better part of months, really. But I counted about 6 or 7 down power lines, so I can appreciate why it is difficult for the JPS to put power in the homes of its customers here in Clarendon. But let me just take you a little bit up to the north and then work our way back down to the south and tell you about some of the real impact on the parish here today from this very destructive weather system. So far up in the north, I must admit I've not yet gone up into the north. Most of my work today was in the south and central part, but from the north, we've noted that there's some damage to the Edwin Allen High School building there. Its roof was damaged. We've also been told by the Works Minister, who is MP for North Central Clarendon up there. He has also indicated that a couple of culverts up there, they've been dislocated, they've been washed away by the weather system. And as you make your way down into the central part of the country, of the parish, down into the southern part of the parish, that's where you come up on the flooding and the damage to housing infrastructure and downed trees. We're talking about several homes we've seen have lost multiple trees, big trees. We're talking about decades-old trees, the mango trees, fruit trees, all sorts of stuff. And we've noted homes that have lost roof. We've also noticed down here in the southern part, the Veer Technical High School, one particular building down there has lost a section of its roof. And it is worth noting that that particular high school is being used as a shelter here in the parish. In fact, that is the most popular shelter right now in the parish. Last check we had yesterday, about 300 people was at that shelter. But that particular part of the building that we noted this morning that was damaged is not an area that is being used as shelter. So that must also be noted. And let me now tell you a little bit now and tell our viewers a little bit about the flooding in the area. Halsall, which is a pretty problematic area, it has experienced some of the most flooding we've noticed today. When I was on the road and I saw some residents from the area, scores of them were flooded out. In fact, it was so bad that several of them were actually on the road foraging, basically. And that's my word, foraging through the waste of their neighbors to try to find potential bedding because they've been displaced. So they are having it pretty tough and it's pretty desperate. I interviewed some of them and they said, listen, we have no food, our babies have nowhere to sleep. So it's pretty tough, but I'll be making my way up there in the north to see some more infrastructural damage. And as soon as I get that tomorrow, I'll be sure to share it with our viewers and with you in the news team, in the news center. So that's it from me here in Clarendon. I'm Dwayne Anderson, and it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. We now go to the Diaspora, where our reporter, Deirdre Thomas, spoke with some Jamaicans who have been worried about their family members back home.
There's a quiet kind of tension here in New York City. Jamaicans are worried, watching, waiting, and praying as Hurricane Melissa bears down on the island.
I'm a little bit scared, I'm a little bit worried, but I'm also a little bit hopeful because, over the years, we've always heard we're getting a storm, and God has some way always, protected us.
Have you spoken to your family since?
Yes, I was not so long on the phone. Thankfully, they still have electricity and still have mobile services. So yes.
We as Jamaican, we always survive. We always, overcome any adversity. So yeah.
We have been receiving a few calls here at the consulate from persons who are, trying to find out what it is that is going on. Maybe they're not able to reach their relatives. I'm not sure if in their area the network is down, but we have gotten a few calls. But most of what we have been getting are people who are a little bit anxious.
But inside the Jamaica Consulate in Manhattan, New York, that tension has, however, turned into action. Community Relations Officer Christopher Benjamin says a high-level meeting was called on Monday.
Ambassador Anderson in Washington convened a meeting of all the consulates and honorary consuls here in the United States so that we can start our planning. And we will be having a bigger meeting online with various community members to outline the strategies that we are employing to try and get the collection of aid and supplies going forward.
However, Mr. Benjamin says the true response will depend on what Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says is needed.
When we look at the playbook that we used for Hurricane Beryl last year, the government had indicated that we didn't need food. What we needed were like first aid supplies, tools, agricultural tools, tents, tarpaulins, and things like that. So that's the messaging that we are going to be putting out there. And of course, if persons want to make donations of cash, that is always acceptable, and we will be taking that.
He added that details will soon be released on how Jamaicans abroad can contribute, whether through drop-off points or verified online portals. Even from miles away, the call to help home is never ignored.
Reporting from Midtown Manhattan, I'm Deidre Thomas for TVJ News.
Thank you so much, Deidre. Now we are joined by Oliver Mayer, Jamaica's Consul General to the Southeastern United States. And sir, before we get into what you are doing, your own reactions based on what you have seen so far.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to extend my sympathies to the families and the businesses that have been impacted. Clearly, there's major damage. We worked actively on Hurricane Beryl last year, mobilized the community, and even though it barely brushed, we had billions of dollars of damage that affected Jamaica. And so we know now as a Category 5 with winds over 185 miles an hour, and based on the pictures we're seeing, we know there's a lot of work to be done, and we stand ready to support the efforts to provide recovery for Jamaica.
Talk to us about how you have been working with other groups to mobilize that help that you said that we really need at this point.
All right, from Melissa became a developing system. Members of the community started to volunteer, as we did in Hurricane Beryl, and we worked with organizations such as Food for the Poor and the other organization, Global Empowerment Mission, just helping them to pack containers, relief kits, just being on alert for the impending system. And so we have also been identified a number of drop-off points in a number of cities, highly populated cities with Jamaicans. Miramar, Lauderdale, Lauderdale Lakes, Miami-Dade. We have all identified a number of drop-off points. So using the list from ODPEM, we will start collecting items from as early as this week to position to provide to Jamaica. And in addition to that, we have been communicating, doing several interviews on major networks, just pleading for help for Jamaica. And, you know, we're using the website supportjamaica.gov.jm. And we've gotten a lot of very good support from the major networks, the BBCs, the ABCs, CBS of the world, and they have been supporting. And we have had a number of people from the community, hundreds so far have volunteered, and a number of institutions have called. They're calling around the clock from morning to night, saying they are willing to set up activities to support the relief and the recovery efforts back in Jamaica. I can say the efforts of the Diaspora is alive and well, and we are working with the Diaspora once again to support Jamaica land we love.
Talk to us about the importance of getting the Diaspora involved in the recovery.
Well, you know, as Jamaicans, we want to get involved. We want to be a part of what's taking place. So we're not forcing anybody. People are calling. They want to help. It's a natural passion that is there. And so what we're doing is channeling that energy. And we have given persons basically 3 ways that they can participate. 1, they can come down to one of the major organizations to volunteer their time. 2, they can provide a monetary contribution, or 3, they can provide items to one of the drop-off points. before they can use Amazon and just order the items and deliver it to one of the organizations, so we have it ready to send to Jamaica. So we have given our diaspora members several options and worked with them. We have had prayer sessions with the community, just praying for Jamaica, and we have also involved the community leaders so they are part of some of the actions that we're taking, because our people want to be a part of the solutions. They want to be a part of the recovery of Jamaica. They did it in Beryl. In fact, it was Global Empowerment Mission, I believe. Within 2 days of the hurricane, there was relief on the ground. And we had tarps, we had generators, we had relief kits, and working closely with the relevant authorities, we were able to make that happen and to provide the relevant needs of the community. We know it is going to be a long road ahead, and so the appeal has been very strong, just asking the community to be there for us, and they have answered the call.
So I suppose now it's just a matter of waiting for the airports rather, to open and to just coordinate all the efforts, because as you would have mentioned, you have several sites that you have now opened where you will be taking in these donations.
That's correct. And I want to give a big shout out to Hard Rock, the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel right here in Florida. Listen, they have put up the Jamaica colors tonight, and the Jamaicans all over Florida are celebrating. They're sharing the colors. It's a little encouragement after seeing the battering we took today with Hurricane Melissa. Despite the challenges, we are a country of resilience. We look about with Talawa. We know the road ahead is not going to be easy. So we're calling out to the international community to support our efforts. But we know that we will overcome as a people. And, again, I thank all the persons who have been joining in the effort so far. And we look forward to continuing the work as we look to help Jamaica to recover as best as we can at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for that. And of course, we will be following up on those relief efforts being spearheaded by the diaspora. Now, it's time for us to... Oh, wait. I was told that the Miami Heat National Basketball Association, the NBA team, it has donated $1 million towards the hurricane relief in Jamaica. The team's management made the announcement this afternoon. So a lot of that is happening in the diaspora. We have been getting the help, and no doubt it will reach those who are most needed. So, time now for responses to our feedback question. We've been asking, what was your experience like of Hurricane Melissa? Our first comment is from Brian Lee Townsend. He says, it's not gone yet. Melissa is still lingering in Montego Bay. Trust me. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. Nothing, he says, was spared. Another comment from Michelle Keeple, who says, I lost my roof. Tanisha Bailey says, it was calm for me, no damage, just some breeze and rain. Grateful. This one is from Eric Pink, who says, the wind was the scariest part for me. Me too. But he's also saying big up to JPS for keeping his electricity on and Digicel for his internet and cable services. You're lucky, Eric Pink. Do we have another one? Yes, and it is from Laverne Johnson, who says, severe winds and rain. So I have to be locked up inside, which I'm not used to. No light, no home internet or cable. Worst experience of a hurricane. Okay, so again, we have been asking, what was your experience like of Hurricane Melissa? We love the engagement, so we are going to ask you to keep those comments coming. Facebook.com/Television Jamaica and post on X at TVJ News Center. Now, when we come back, the Primetime News Package continues with the weather report and forecast.
Day. Brought to you by...
Start your journey with a Jane Bank Small Business Loan with small business loans with as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million.
Turn your big-ticket credit card purchases into flexible, bite-sized monthly payments at a lower interest rate with Scotia Select Pay.
The time by Scotiabank is...
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
TVJ's Hurricane Tip, brought to you by...
Protect what matters most with home and contents insurance from Advantage General. Visit our website at advantagegeneral.com.
Always have some cash handy. Following a hurricane, banks and ATMs may be temporarily closed, and you may need cash to access important goods and services.
That was a TVJ Hurricane Tip, brought to you by...
Protect what matters most with home and contents insurance from Advantage General. Visit our website at advantagegeneral.com.
The Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League is back at its rightful home, Television Jamaica and TVJ Sports Network. For 14 thrilling weeks, the nation's premier footballers will be on show, bringing the skill, the passion, and the goals. Don't miss the excitement. Double headers every Sunday and Monday, live and exclusive in Jamaica. Matches streamed on onespotmedia.com, available only in Jamaica. The Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. 40 weeks of homegrown talent, homegrown pride, only on TVJ, TVJ Sports Network, and onespotmedia.com.
Since 1950, you've turned to us for the stories that matter, the headlines that shaped the nation, and the moments that brought us together. For 75 years, your trust has been our greatest privilege. You've welcomed us into your homes, your cars, and your lives. As Radio Jamaica celebrates another milestone, we do so with a renewed sense of purpose and commitment to serving you, the Jamaican people. We remain active for the good of our nation. Salute to #Boss Radio, Jamaica's heartbeat, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Radio Jamaica 94 FM, celebrating 75 remarkable years of connecting generations, preserving legacies.
Television Jamaica delivers unmatched impact. With 82% of the free-to-air market, TVJ delivers your message to more than 1 million viewers daily. From our award-winning on-air broadcasts to our authentic local programs and powerhouse digital platforms, One Spot Media, YouTube, and our social media pages. Your message connects with Jamaicans and a global audience. Build your brand or drive instant results with TVJ's trusted quality and unrivaled reach. Ready to make an impact? Advertise with us today. Call your TVJ account executive at 876-926-1100 or visit televisionjamaica.com. Let us help your business grow because TVJ reaches and TVJ delivers.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is...
Welcome back. Now, in our satellite imagery this evening, we're continuing to monitor the progress of Melissa. She has moved north of the Jamaica area. We can see that the eye wall and I are just north of the coast of Trelawney and are moving further towards the northeast and away from the island at about 13 kilometers per hour. However, we do have Strong winds still onshore the coast of St. James, also onshore the coast of Trelawney and St. Anne, because that system is now turning the winds in the opposite direction across the general area. So we are continuing to see strong winds, showers and thunderstorms affect most of the island, and we are expecting much of this activity to continue tonight. Going into tomorrow morning, we do expect some weakening with the system also. It's now down to a Category 3. It had impacted the island of Jamaica earlier today as a Category 5 system, so there was some weakening over the past 12 hours. The system is expected to continue drifting further away. We're expecting to see tropical storm force conditions across most of the island by the end of tomorrow. Now let's have a look at the forecast for tonight. Now those lingering showers and thunderstorms are expected across most of the island tonight. We're expecting thunderstorm activity to be heaviest across sections of the north and the southeast. Temperatures are dropping to 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston and to 23 degrees Celsius for Montego Bay. Now in the morning tomorrow, cloudy conditions are expected across the area. We do have strong winds forecast for much of the island as well. Isolated showers and thunderstorms still linger across most parishes as a result of the passage of the system. And for the afternoon, more of those showers and thunderstorms continue across the island, especially across the north, but we're expected to see gradual conditions getting better across sections of the south, that's southern parishes. We're expecting temperatures to reach 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 degrees Celsius for Montego Bay. Now, tropical storm force conditions are expected across much of the southeast tomorrow. That's Morant Bay, Kingston, Portmore, and Spanish Town. We're also expecting this activity, especially in the early morning in Maypen and in Mandeville. Tropical storm force conditions again for the southwest. We're expecting tropical storm force conditions also for the northeast. However, in the northeast, we're expecting the activity to begin. We're expecting the activity to stop rather earlier in the late afternoon. Elsewhere across the north, these conditions are expected to continue. We're expecting most of the area, Ocheria, St. Anne's Bay, Brownstown, as well as Falmouth, Montego Bay and Lucy to be under the influence of these storm conditions up until the evening tomorrow. Now, the next few days, we are expecting partly cloudy conditions for much of the day on Thursday. We're expecting also a few showers to be occurring across sections of inland areas and western parishes. It's partly cloudy for most of the day on Friday with isolated afternoon showers across the west, and similar conditions are forecast for Saturday. The marine forecast has winds from the west tomorrow across the north coast. We're looking for speeds between 25 and 30 knots, wave heights between 2.5 and 3 meters, or hurricane warning is still in effect for the island. Also across the south coast, westerly winds are expected at 15 to 20 knots, slightly weaker winds than on the north. The wave heights are between 1.5 and 2 meters. However, we do expect strong gusts tonight, getting up to 45 knots, and wave heights reaching 4.5 meters. Now, the outlook for the forecast for offshore areas has westerlies at 15 to 25 knots. We're keeping our hurricane warning in effect for offshore areas as well. Wave heights are between 1.5 and 2.5 meters, especially in offshore areas of the south coast. And the outlook has a northwesterly regime on Thursday, speeds between 15 and 20 knots. On Friday, the winds are turning more northeasterly, so we're going back to normal conditions, speeds between 10 and 15 knots, and an easterly wind is expected on Saturday, speeds 10 to 15 knots, wave heights between 1 and 1.5 meters. And that's it for the weather report and forecast for this evening. But we thank you so much for watching and continue to stay safe.
Shareholders of Reggae Jamaica Limited are advised that the company's annual general meeting will be held on Monday, November 10, 2025 at the AC Hotel in Kingston at 38 to 42 Lady Musgrave Road starting at 10 o'clock. Meeting notices and proxy forms have been mailed to shareholders in Jamaica. The annual report is available at rgrgleonagroup.com/publications or on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. Shareholders may also message us on WhatsApp at 876-356-3184 to receive the report by email. That was a notice to shareholders of Reggae Jamaica Limited.
The feedback question, brought to you by
we have it all. When you think alone, think Chris and John.
And just before we leave you, we have some updates from our telecoms providers. I'm going to read you this press release from Flow Jamaica. It says that 72% of its mobile customers have access to connectivity despite power challenges being experienced with some of its mobile sites. Again, that is from Flow. It says 72% of its mobile customers have access to connectivity despite power challenges being experienced. Several Flow mobile sites are now dependent on backup power provided via generators deployed ahead of the storm. As was anticipated, the areas of highest impact for Flow were St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. James, and the areas experiencing the lowest impact from the storm were Kingston, St. Thomas, St. Andrew, and Clarendon. As far as its fixed network is concerned, it says only 22% of its fiber internet customers are currently registering online and able to access services. Now, this, according to Flow, is mostly based on limited residential power availability across the majority of the island. As for Digicel says it is still assessing the outage across the island and will have a press briefing tomorrow. I also want to give you another update, and it is regarding the essential public service offices. And this release is from the government of Jamaica. It says the government of Jamaica is advising the public that all non-essential government offices will remain closed until further notice as the country continues to prepare, as the country reels from the impact of Hurricane Melissa. The directive is an extension of earlier precautionary measures taken to close non-essential government offices ahead of the system as part of the National Emergency Readiness Posture. Okay, so we can also take some more responses to our feedback question. No, we cannot. Time is of essence and we really have to go. But definitely we have our reporters right across Jamaica. And in the days ahead, we will continue our coverage of Hurricane Melissa, the aftermath. I am Janella Precious. On behalf of the entire team, pleasant viewing.
Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management are working closely with the municipal corporations and the various stakeholders that we are in a state of readiness.
When the advisory are given, that person should heed the warning. You move to your nearest shelter. We would have done extensive work leading into the hurricane season. The hurricane season is 6 months, as we all know, from 1st of June to the end of November. And so extensive work would have gone in way before June to prepare the country for any eventuality.
We have started our shelter inspections as early as March, right across the parish. The various municipalities has been inspecting shelters, mobilizing resources, and continuing our program in terms of training of our volunteer corps.
The section that is provided for families is a new innovation, and Clarendon must be commended. So I'm saying, yes, I am more than satisfied, well pleased and satisfied. The question has been raised about isolations in regards to COVID-19. All our shelters are equipped with isolation areas so that persons, if they come down with COVID, will be relocated to these shelters.
This year, we have what we call our COVID protocol officers, who are specifically trained and in place in relation to ensure